Hey guys, if anybody notices, I'm live. But this one is going to actually be short, and I don't think it's working because I have a feeling. It is working. Hello, sweet crazy. How are you today? So I don't have anything actually planned. I'm baking some dinner right now, and I just thought I would kind of talk about maybe one or two of these cases that I've been reading about as I'm writing stuff for my shorts that I have been trying to make lately. Um, but yeah, I was hoping that it was. I'm just checking to make sure everything is set. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I don't have anything in the description. I don't have a thumbnail for this one yet. But I am I have been looking into these missing person cases, and a couple of them that came up are really kind of spooky, and you kind of wonder what really happened. Um, so Dorothy Jane Scott is a pretty interesting one. If I can find it, I can. Well, I can't find it, but I do have it. Just give me a sec. How's everyone today? Hey, Maribel. Yeah, surprise. I'm doing a short live while my food cooks in the oven. Um, I was just saying, that I've been doing research for these short videos that I've been making. I don't know if you've watched those very much yet, but they're basically little snippets of true crime, basically what I get my trivia from, when I'm researching this stuff and I make trivia. I was thinking, well, it only takes a few more minutes to, actually write it out a little bit better and make it into a script for a short. And so I've been trying to stockpile a bunch of these so that I can work on them in kind of bulk, and then maybe eventually have enough that I can put them out one a day. Um, but they actually take more time than you would think to make them. I would say just the recording part is an hour, um, and that includes editing out all the mistakes. But then once you start adding like music and stuff, that's like another hour. So it's like 2 or 3 hours. And then if I actually make it into a real, like, a miniature version of my regular videos, uh, it's actually takes all day. So, yeah. But I am gonna be making a short video on this, Dorothy Jane Scott case. Another one is, Cindy James. It's, similar to this case. It also happened in the '80s. So here in just a second, I'm just trying to get the Word document up here. It should be something simple, but I've actually started compiling all of my scripts into like one document for these shorts that I've been writing, and I've got quite a few pages. So the problem is it's hard to find stuff. It's also hard to remember what I've already talked about. And sometimes when you don't think about these cases um, for a long period of time, you forget that you even read about them. And which it's a little bit sad, but it happens to me quite often. Um, there, so I got it now. Yay! And here in about 20 minutes, I've got to go take some food out of the oven. So today is going to be kind of a short live. It's a Monday. Hope everyone's having a good day. And I've lost my live. There we go. Do I still got you guys? Are you still here? um, so Dorothy Jane Scott knew fear by the low hum of the telephone. It didn't matter if it was noon or midnight. The moment the phone rang, her stomach knotted, and she felt a presence creeping through the wires. Night after night, a voice slithered into her ear like a serpent cooling around her heart. He told her how he watched her every step, how he would cut her up into bits and no one would ever find her. These calls were merciless and unrelenting. In the breathing silence after he hung up, Dorothy sometimes swore she could hear the tap, tap, tap of him listening on the line, even when he wasn't calling her, or a faint rustle outside of her window. By the spring of 1980, Dorothy, quiet, church going, and devoted to her 4-year old son, was living in Anaheim, California, helping her parents raise her little boy while she held down a job. She worked at the Swingers Psych Shop, which I'm not sure what is. I need to look that one up. Um, Now I guess it's known as Swingers in Stanton. In a life otherwise marked by routine, these phone calls were malignant disruptions. He said he loved her sometimes. He said he would tear her apart sometimes. And though Dorothy had changed her phone number more than once, the calls always came. She thought she sought solace in her faith, hushing her anxieties. She was determined not to let these shadows find her way to her child. But how do you lock a door against a voice that is in your home? So late May 1980, Dorothy's sense of normalcy unraveled completely. The day had started ordinarily enough. She dropped her little boy off with her parents, Jacob and Vera, before driving to work. She was in her early 30s, just trying to make a stable life for her child. That evening, a coworker, Conrad Bostron, complained of feeling ill. Some accounts say that he had a spider bite that looked infected. So Dorothy and another colleague, Pam Head, decided to drive him to the medical center in Irvine. It was an altruistic impulse, typical of Dorothy's generous nature. She was the kind of friend who never hesitated to help. Uh, the journey to the hospital was oddly tense. Dorothy couldn't quite shake the sense that someone was following her. Even the fluorescent lights in the hospital parking lot seemed menacing. She stood there under the harsh glare, her shadow carving out a solitary figure. When the doctor confirmed Conrad was going to be fine but needed a prescription, Dorothy offered to pull the car around to the exit so he wouldn't have to walk so far. She slipped away alone into the night, her silhouette momentarily lost in the halo of the hospital lights. Pam and Conrad finished up in the waiting room, expecting to see Dorothy's white 1973 Toyota station wagon idling near the entrance. Instead, a few moments later, the car barreled past them, headlights glaring. They tried to wave her down, but the driver, just a single dark shape behind the wheel, never even paused. Was it Dorothy or somebody else entirely? The station wagon surged out into the darkness before disappearing into the labyrinth of Irvine's streets. By dawn, authorities discovered Dorothy's station wagon abandoned in flames in a Santa Ana alley about 10 miles from the hospital. The interior was scorched. Windows were blackened by the blaze. There was no hint of Dorothy's whereabouts. The night had swallowed her whole. For her parents and her son, daybreak brought only nightmares made tangible. Each passing hour without word from Dorothy felt like a lifetime balanced on the knife's edge. In the weeks that followed, Jacob and Vera Scott found themselves thrust into the realm of torment. Their phone began to ring, a staccato of dread, each time the same voice. "I've got her," he would whisper. Or he'd sneer, "Is Dorothy home?" The calls were brief, but enough to flay open raw wounds. The police tapped the phone line, hoping to trace the mysterious intruder, but each time they picked up, the line clicked dead or fizzled into static just in time for him to vanish. The calls never lasted long. Uh, Not long enough for investigators to locate a source. This is a true story, Maribel. You can look it up, and I'll put the name in the chat. Well, it's in the description here. Um, but it is a true story. It was almost as if the caller knew precisely how to evade detection, as if toying with Dorothy's family. Though every season from that May night into the following years, the phone calls persisted. Like a haunting refrain, the same voice slithered through the wires, reminding them of Dorothy's absence. In the early days, the parents held on to hope. Maybe Dorothy was somewhere being held against her will. Maybe she found a way to escape or was too afraid to reach out. The voices on the phone offered no clarity, just cruel barbs, taunts, and insinuations that kept the family's wounds open. The authorities tried to piece together Dorothy's final moments. Coworkers remembered the kind-hearted woman, someone who wore a mother's gentle smile and rarely made enemies. Yet the phone calls before her disappearance had unsettled Dorothy enough to consider purchasing a handgun for self-defense. She mentioned to friends that she recognized the caller's voice but couldn't quite place who he was. He wasn't a complete stranger. She sensed a familiarity in his tone. Investigators combed through Dorothy's social circles, the ex-boyfriends, acquaintances from work, even local repairmen who might have visited her home. Nothing yielded a solid lead. For four, four, for, for four harrowing years, Dorothy's parents lived in limbo. Their home in Anaheim became a fortress of dread. The phone calls kept coming in. Neighbors looked at the family with pity, offering consoling words. We're praying for Dorothy's return, or don't lose hope. But nightfall brought the same creeping question. Where was Dorothy? Was she suffering or was she gone? Then, in August 1984, the wheels of fortune turned, and with them came a grim discovery. Construction workers clearing brush and rubble on a remote hillside near Santa Ana Canyon Road unearthed charred skeletal remains. Nearby, they found a turquoise ring, weathered and decayed, which Dorothy's parents instantly recognized as their daughter's. A tattered watch sat silent among the remains, stopped at a time no one could explain. The Orange County Sheriff's Department confirmed through dental records that the bones belonged to Dorothy Jane Scott, and the news crashed over her family like a black tide. Hope was extinguished in an instant. Yet, even with this dark confirmation, the mystery didn't end. According to reports, Dorothy's remains appeared as though they had been there for a while. However, the precise timeline remained hazy. Authorities couldn't identify definitively why she died. Had she been killed the same night she vanished, or was she taken somewhere else first? And still, the phone calls continued. The caller, unrepentant, breathed into the receiver as if relishing the pain he was causing. Dorothy's father, Jacob, tried to confront him, to keep him on the line, to drag some hint of truth out of the static, but the whispers were always ended with a click. Police were certain it was the same man, the same gentle menace that had terrified Dorothy. It was as if he fed on the heartbreak he inflicted. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. In the years since Dorothy's disappearance, the murder has become a chilling chapter in Orange County lore, a cautionary tale about the stalkers that slip through the cracks in broad daylight. The Orange County Sheriff's Department followed numerous leads, some public, some not, but no arrests were ever made. Dorothy's son grew up without the soft warmth of his mother's love. Her parents, who once found a flicker of hope in the phone's ring, had to bury their child and endure the unending echoes of why and who. Some speculate that Dorothy may have had a secret admirer, a man she once described to friends who sent her flowers and called her regularly, shifting seamlessly between an affectionate person and the graphic threats of violence. Others suspect that Others suspect an even closer connection, maybe a disgruntled coworker, a jilted acquaintance who walked among her circle. No one can say for sure. The case remains cold. To this day, Dorothy Jane Scott's story is told in hushed tones. It's a modern day ghost story that merges everyday life with waking nightmares. But I just thought I would kind of share this one because it's just so creepy. Um, it's actually a real true crime story, um, but there are a lot of other stories tied to it. Um, I just recorded uh, something for a live, not for a live, for a short on Cindy James. And, what I've been researching is like these creepy cases where they're cold cases and they have the phone kind of thing in common. And, back in the 1980s, people didn't have cell phones. And the only way you could get people to stop calling your house was to take the phone off the hook, you know? Otherwise, anybody can call anytime. And, there was no like, you can't silence your phone the easy way we do now. It was just a different time. The Cindy James case happened in Canada, so I don't think they're related. And that case is odd because the police actually suspected that Cindy might have had mental health issues and imagined all of the stuff that happened to her and somehow was like tying herself up 6 miles from her house and, letting people find her on the side of the road. Um, I find it hard to believe that it was faked. But I've seen other stories where people have done some really insane things to prove a lie that they're telling. What was that girl's name? Oh shoot. Let me see if I can find the video of that one. Palpini, I think is her name. I can't remember her first name right off the top of my head. I'm looking for it. Sherry Papini. This is actually a modern story, the last few years. I forget what year she did this, but it wasn't that long ago. But she disappeared one day. What really happened was she went to go hang out with her ex-boyfriend and didn't want to come home. But she got with the help of her ex-boyfriend, she was married and had kids, but with the help of her ex-boyfriend, she like burned herself. She like, you know, put rope burns on her hands, made herself look like she had been tortured um, to prove this lie. She even had a description of her supposed captors. And, police were searching for these people in 3 different states. There was like thousands of man-hours put into this investigation. And when she got jail time, um, but, you know, she got out, and there's a documentary of, when she was, like, found and how she was acting afterwards. Like, she had little kids, and they were afraid that somebody was gonna take their mommy again. So, anytime something, like, happened, like, there was a lot of trauma that happened to that family. It's really, a good story if you guys, wanna check it out. I got a basic story of it on my channel. Um, when I wrote it, I was actually planning on doing a 3-part thing, but it didn't get very many views. Let me see if I can share it and you can see some of it, maybe just the intro. Share screen. think this is it.
The lie starts small, just a whisper, a flicker, but it swells, each breath forcing it larger, tighter until it hovers on the edge.
Lots of cash.
So this is
The lie
the
starts small, just a
video
whisper,
I
a
made.
flicker, but it swells, each breath forcing it larger, tighter until it hovers on the edge of bursting. Sherry Papini's lie.
Here, let me.
The lie starts small, just a whisper, a flicker, but it swells, each breath forcing it larger, tighter until it hovers on the edge of bursting. Sherry Papini's life was that balloon. Every bruise, cut, and burn she inflicted upon herself inflated her story. Each second teetered between
You know, I
control
actually
and
sound
collapse.
funny
What
listening to.
compels a person to lie?
This is one of my
We all
first
do it.
ever
Most of us try not
videos
to.
that I recorded with
If
my
the
own
truth
voice.
sets us free, what kind of prison does a lie bind us to? And when the lie grows larger than life itself, can the person telling it even recognize where the lie ends and they begin? What unmet emotional need drove a woman to lie to such a degree? The weight of that lie would have crushed almost anyone else. She held it with an unsettling ease.
Yeah.
When
It's
she
a
was
weird
found
story.
bruised and beaten on the side of the road, she was met with a tender kindness. The humanity within us begs us to offer open arms to victims, to hug them, to tell them everything will be all right and one day your life will be normal again. This humanity sparked a massive investigation conducted over multiple states, racking up thousands of man-hours required to quash the public's desperate need for a reckoning, to catch the worst offenders hidden among us. How did that balloon become the world on Hercules' back before it burst and the truth was finally revealed? There was no monster at all. There would be no reckoning. Just a quiet, unnerving shrug as the nation looked at her for what she really was, a liar and a cheater. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Please like and subscribe. Today we discuss a story that will challenge your assumptions and leave you questioning the nature of truth. What happens when
Yeah, I won't play the whole thing, but like that was one of my first videos where I recorded with my own voice. I had been using an AI to do these things, and I liked the AI voice a lot. But there was a lot of issues I would have with it, especially with pronunciation. You could you could basically drop a Word document into the AI program and then it just like spits it out. And it's basically okay. I would say like maybe 80% okay. But then there's all kinds of issues that happen where if you don't listen to everything, if you type in like the date, like 2025, it'll say, 2025 actually would be okay. I think it's like if you use like 1908, it would say 1908 instead of 1908. So you'd have to make sure to put a space in between those. Yeah, and I actually started out with like the mic I have right now is pretty good. Um, there are better ones, but the one I had was supposedly a good one, and my voice always sounded tinny. But I also got this thing here um, that helps with to make it sound better. I don't know exactly what it does, but it does help. Um, and then, obviously I could listen to myself, and this helps a lot because I can tell when my voice is off key or whatever. I don't know what to call it. Do you really have a key when you're speaking? But um, when I listen to myself, I can, I don't know, it comes out better. But anyway, so in the next few days, keep an eye out for some shorts that I'll be doing. Um, like we just kind of covered that that story about the missing woman. That story is really bizarre, and I think it has a little like I'm pretty sure somebody attacked her. The other one, Cindy James from Canada, that one, just because of the way the police kind of like approached it and they started questioning, it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe she was having some kind of mental health issue. Um, but she was injected with what is it? The sedatives or whatever. But there was no needle found. And then apparently there was like a homeless guy who lived in his van close by, and this woman was in white clothes, so she was visible from the road, but he didn't notice that she was there. Um, so I think maybe he could be the reason why there was no needle. He's probably could have been a drug addict and thought, "Oh, I've been needing a new needle," and just took it. Um, but the police suggested that she actually sedated herself, and then before she you know, passed out and died, she tied herself up to make it look like an elaborate murder, but it was actually a suicide. And those kind of stories are really like interesting to me. It's like I just want to know what happened. And Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you watched those. I don't think they're actually like gonna earn me any money, but I have gotten a lot of new subscribers from them, and they're actually fun to make. And it's actually helping me like make eye contact with my camera because I have to sit there and look at my camera now and like read a line from over here, pause my camera. I mean, it's a process. And Since I've been doing those, it's actually gotten easier. It's weird how your brain like learns things, and like now when I look at a sentence, I can actually remember it longer than I used to. I don't know why. I can, but I think it's just like that. I need to. I can. Um, but the other option would be to actually memorize, you know, 300 words and just look at the camera and do that. But that takes a long time. Yeah, it sounds like somebody really didn't like this woman. The fact that he was calling the parents, and then even after she was found, her remains were found. The phone calls kept coming. And the guy was smart enough to not be on the line long enough. I don't know if that's just something he watched in movies to know not to stay on the line for more than a minute. Um, but it's a creepy story, and it's one I think I might actually do a long video on eventually. I've just got a ton of projects to do um, ahead of that one. I mean, if I could, I would do. I don't know. There's way too many things for me to do. Right now, I'm working on a Black Dahlia video and another Chris Watts video. I actually made a long form video of Nutgate. So I know you Chris Watts fans are probably going to find that one interesting. Um, and then I've been recording live stream or not I keep saying lives, but the shorts. When I wake up in the morning, I record one before I go to work. And today I was like, well, I'm still in my work clothes, so I'll just go ahead and record another one. Uh, but here I am doing a live stream instead. Um, Edmund Kemper was actually a really smart guy. And, I wonder what it would have happened had he gotten into the police academy. They said he was too tall and too big to be a police officer. Um, and so what he did after that, Edmund decided, well, if I can't be part of the police force, I'll just go to the bars where the police hang out and become their friends. And that's what he did. And they would give him things like handcuffs and, you know, uh, decals and stuff. And my food is done. So I'm going to have to go. Ah. But yeah, I'm making baking enchiladas. So yay. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching and hanging out. I know it wasn't like a big, live stream. I try to plan these things and actually have something good to talk about. Um, Just reading these comments, but I do have to go grab my food. They're called buffs in those. Wait, and BK knew it too. So like not staying on the line that long, that's what you're talking about? That's called a buff? Um, I'm a little confused, but because when I think of 1980s and when somebody says buff, I'm thinking like a muscle guy, you know? I think that was a term back then. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll try not to knock myself, but, you know, I'm my worst critic, so, uh, but anyways, guys, I'll talk to you, probably later. Hey, Sam, thanks for stopping in. I have food in the oven that I gotta go take out, so I have to leave, but I was just kinda making talking about some of the shorts that I've been researching, and, I hope you, you know, when you watch it, I hope you enjoy it. But I'll catch you guys in the next video.